What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to go over this MLB slate once again. I've got two slips I want to give you guys that are player props. I want to talk about some money lines for this game or these games. If that's something you guys are looking forward to, make sure you guys leave a like on this video. Drop a comment. Let me know what your favorite play on the day is. And if you guys would be so generous, I would appreciate it if you would hit that sub button. Now, looking at our two plays, we have a 3.45x play that I'm going to give you guys here. It's $100, 150 to win 517. Then the other slip's going to be right at a double up. It's going to be 150 to pay out 294. Now, I'm running both these plays over on the Chalkboard app. If you guys do want to tell these, Chalkboard's going to be the best spot to tell them. I will say you can get free VIP for signing up with Chalkboard using code FANTASYACES. You can do that with any of our partnered apps down in the description. There's 8 of those, and just send me a DM on Discord if you guys sign up for those, and I'll get you guys added for that free month. So I just wanted to throw it out there. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into the slate for today. So taking a look, got a pretty decent size slate. We got about 10 games to go over, so we'll go over each one of these games individually. You guys know how I like to start my research. I always take a look at pitching matchups. I try to find a spot to where I find a mismatch on pitchers, and then that's usually the games that I like to target. I always got to check weather, so I come over to RotoWire here, check the weather at the bottom. It's going to tell you how the wind is, where the precipitation is, things like that. As of right now, there are no games with bad weather in terms of rain. Now, there are a lot of games with wind. Wind is going to be a massive factor in baseball. If you bet on baseball, you already know this. If you're new to baseball, this might be something a little bit different for you. But wind is something you have to take in consideration, specifically on totals. Wind blowing outward is going to affect the total of the game. Wind blowing inward is going to affect the total of the game. So always pay attention to where the wind is in games that definitely, or games specifically that don't have domes. So let's talk about this slate right here. So the first game we're going to talk about is going to be the Marlins versus the Phillies. Now, this is a game that I actually like. You got the Phillies minus 192 right now at home. Most of the money is going to be on the Phillies right here. I will say this Marlins team is not a team to sleep on. When you look at the Marlins, they've won 8 of their last 10 games. They've looked incredibly good as of lately. Phillies have been pretty strong. Phillies this season over 500, 54% win rate. The Marlins sitting right at 500. The Phillies at home, a lot better than the Marlins are on the road. The Marlins only have a 39% win rate on the road, but they have won 5 of their last 6 road games. So this Marlins team has been on fire, which makes it a little bit scary to bet against sometimes. But when you look at the matchup here, everything points to the Phillies getting a dub tonight when you have Zach Wheeler on the mound. So Zach Wheeler is pitching for the Phillies. He's 5-1 on the season with a 2.22 ERA. He averages right at 8.4 strikeouts per 9 innings and has a .85 WHIP. So his control is very, very good. We already know Zach Wheeler, a great pitcher, a guy that's usually someone you can trust when you're looking at pitching matchups. And you can look at him versus Miami already once this season. They already got a win. He had a 1.5 ERA and then a .83 WHIP. Now, this is the second game Miami has seen Zach Wheeler. The more a team sees him, the better they're going to be versus a pitcher. You want to usually target pitchers that aren't on their second or third game versus a team, but it's Zach Wheeler, man. I'm expecting another good game from him. On the other side of things, you got Gusto here, 0-1 on the season, a 6 ERA. He's only pitched 9 innings. And he's got lit up in those 9 innings, a 1.44 WHIP. So has been a lot of control issues as well. So the pitching matchup here definitely favors Philly. Looking at the bullpen here, you can take a look at this. I'm not going to go through every single one of these stats, but you guys can see the pitch counts for the last 3 games. You got some of these bullpen pitchers for the Phillies that's had quite a few pitches. You can look at the ERA here for Banks, 50 pitches and a 6 ERA. Not a guy we want to see on the bullpen right now. Other than that, you got some pretty decent pitchers that we can bring in for a bullpen. It doesn't look terrible for me, but hopefully Banks isn't one of those guys that we have to rely on here tonight. We'll see what happens. But for Miami, you can see the bullpen for them, pretty dang good, pretty decent. Not anything bad we need to see here. I'm hoping this game doesn't become a bullpen game. I'm hoping the Phillies get a good lead early and they can keep this lead going because I am on the Phillies today. I think the Phillies win this game. Looking at Miami versus right-handed pitchers, you can say Miami's been pretty decent versus righties. Not phenomenal, but they've been pretty good. Versus Zach Wheeler, there's a decent amount of data, but they really haven't done that great versus Zach Wheeler. On the other side of things, Philly hasn't seen Ryan Gusto. Garcia's seen him twice, has a 1 OPS and 2 at-bats, which is pretty good. Batting average is at a 500, so he got a hit in one of those, so it is what it is. Nobody's really seen him. Versus right-handed pitchers, the Phillies really have not looked very good. They look pretty bad. Not anything I'm not sitting here looking at the Phillies like this is a lock by any means, but I do like the Phillies here. Wind, 10.3 mile per hour winds blowing to the right. This is not going to be a domed stadium. It's a hitter-friendly park, and a 0% chance of rain. So wind blowing to the right doesn't scare me as much. If it was blowing outward, that would get a little bit ugly. If it was blowing inward, then we would definitely it would definitely favor the pitchers, which for Zach Wheeler would be a huge boost for us, in my opinion. But I don't mind the 10.3 mile per hour winds blowing to the right. That doesn't scare me by any means. And I got the Phillies here. I think the Phillies win this game. You can take a look at some hitters here. If you were going to look at hitters to bet on, then listen, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a disclaimer. I don't bet hitting props that often unless it's on like correlation slips. I'm not a guy who goes out there and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to play this guy for hits, runs, RBIs, this guy's for hits, runs, RBIs, and I'm going to do my little 3X. That's just not the way I like to bet on baseball. I prefer pitching for baseball or money lines or correlations. Correlations, I do that. That's why you don't see me bet home runs very much. They're just very volatile, man. They're very, very volatile. If you wanted to look at hitters, what I would do when I was looking at hitters, I would go find a batter that's good. So, for example, Harper here. So, Harper's got obviously almost a 300 batting average on the season, a 990 OPS versus right-handed pitchers. Or this is versus right-handed pitchers, not on the season, but versus righties. So, good versus right-handed pitchers. And then you could go to the pitcher as well that they're going against. And if Harper had some at-bats versus this pitcher and looked well, then I would definitely consider betting on Harper for a hit, for example, or something like that, or hits, runs, RBIs. That's just the way that I would do it. I would try to find batters that are good versus a righty or a lefty, and then specifically decent versus that pitcher overall. So, for example, right here you got a 140 batting average versus Zach Wheeler. It's a 250 with an 891 OPS and 12 at-bats. So it doesn't look that bad, but overall versus right-handed pitchers, not the best. So I would find one that looks good for both. That's just the way I would do it. You want to minimize your losses on these. For me, probably not going to bet on hitters. If it's something you guys want to see, you can let me know in the comments. I might try to give a couple of hitter props every day if that's something you would like to see, because NBA is over. We have WNBA and baseball. I get a lot of requests and DMs about doing baseball videos. Everybody likes the baseball videos. I go pretty in-depth in them, I feel like. But, yeah, I can start doing some hitter props. I can do hitter props and pitcher props maybe. Just let me know what you want to see. If you prefer the pitcher props, please let me know, because I don't want, if 90% of you guys want to see just pitching props, because that's what we excel at, then I don't want to just start doing hitter props and then run you guys off. So just let me know what you want to see. Obviously, I feel like you guys probably don't care that much as long as we're cashing, but regardless, for this game, Phillies money line, and I like Zach Wheeler a lot for fantasy score. You can run Zach Wheeler for about anything here, and I'm not going to argue against it. Game number 2 on the slate is going to be the Royals versus the Nationals. So we have Washington. They're minus 133 right now at home. The Royals, not a team that I like to bet on. The Nationals, honestly, I don't love betting on them, but they've been pretty decent in spots this season. They have over a 500 record. They're now Royals way under. Royals suck on the road. Nationals haven't been very good at home. You got Alvarez on the mound versus Spence. Spence here, 13.50 ERA. He only pitched one game, 4 innings. So he got lit up that one game. Alvarez here with 24 innings pitched and a 3.70 ERA. So still not a great pitcher, but based off the one game we have from Spence, much, much better and more reliable here. But obviously that's no data to go off of for Spence. I'm looking at the Royals versus lefties. Been decent versus lefties. This is around that 500 split. Versus Alvarez, obviously haven't seen him. Versus Mitch Spence, this team really hasn't seen him. Versus right-handed pitchers, they've been around the 50-50. So you're not getting any data doesn't strongly point to one team over the other in terms of hitting versus pitching matchup. When you look at the wind here, 11.4 mile per hour winds blowing diagonally inward, so to the right but in. You got a hitter-friendly park, a 107 park factor here in Washington, obviously, and wind is helping pitchers more than it's hurting them. So it doesn't scare me too much with the weather right here. This game's tough. If I had to pick a winner, there's no way I bet on the Royals. I'm just not betting on the Royals. The Royals are just not a very good team. I'd run Washington all day if I had to pick one, especially with Spence on the mound. So give me the Nationals at home versus the Royals. I might actually throw some money on this. I'm not real sure. Royals just aren't the move for me today. So give me Washington here. I think they win this game. Honestly, I don't even mind taking on minus 1.5. I'm going to be honest with you. I know that's a little bit more risky, but I really don't dislike that line. Next game is going to be the Reds versus the Mets. Those Mets, man, putting the belt to my Braves yesterday. And I'm going to show you guys a slip. Yesterday was not a good day for me. I'm going to be transparent with you guys. I did not have a great day yesterday. My money lines sucked. You guys got the pitcher win I showed yesterday. I had Bryce Elder for a win. And Who was the second win that I had? Hancock? Yeah, Hancock for a win. Both teams got the belt put to them. So obviously that killed me. So this is what I ran as my play of the day yesterday. If you guys want to know what my play of the day is, I post one of these every single day in VIP. It's going to be a $2,500 play every single day. $2,500 is a large unit size for me. It's not my regular unit size, so it's almost like a nuke, like the daily nuke that I'm posting. But I had the Braves plus 2.5 with the Yankees plus 2.5. It was minus 170, very juice line. I don't like betting juice lines like this too often, but for the plays of the day, I don't mind it. It was going to be a $1,500 profit if we cashed. The Braves ended up losing there, so they got beat by like 7 runs. That 2.5 didn't mean anything. I was so confident in this. I was more confident in this than I was the Yankees. Yankees ended up winning, so this one was sweat-free. Could have just ran Yankees money line and got a much better payout, but the goal here is to be safe with these. And that one chalked me. So right now, my plays of the day, the record is 9 wins and 3 losses. That was our 3rd loss yesterday. So we've still been crushing them. We hit 9 of the last 12 of them. So we're way up. But that one hurt, man. Braves sold me yesterday versus the Mets. So just wanted to go through that real quick. But anyways, Mets are playing against the Reds in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored right now at minus 127. Both these teams, or the Mets have been good as of lately. The Reds haven't looked that good, only winning 2 of their last 10 games. On the season, both these teams are about the same. That's what I was going to say. Both sitting around a 45 and 47% win rate. At home, the Reds are better than the Mets have been on the road. But the Mets started off the season very, very cold. You can see this, started off looking pretty good, and then they just went on that cold streak, and they couldn't win a game. They've had their streak spells. Right now, they're looking pretty strong. They just beat Atlanta 2 of 3 games. You got Chase Burns on the mound versus Myers here. Myers only has he's 0-1 on the season, 33 innings pitched, 4.05 ERA. Obviously, Burns is going to be the better play here in terms of pitching matchup. Burns is one of those guys that usually you can count on his team when he's pitching. You can look at the Reds with Chase Burns pitching. Their win rate is 70% pretty much, 69%. And you can see they've won 5 of their last 6 games with Burns on the mound. So this isn't a spot where I would bet against Burns. The Mets are scaring me a little bit because the Mets, to me, should be better than what they are. I felt like their team should have been a lot better. They have some pitchers that you would expect more from that's really just sucked. Peralta being a good example of that. But regardless, I can't really bet against the Reds here, I don't think. Not with Burns on the mound. If they had like Lodolo or someone pitching, then yeah, I'd be like, yeah, take the Mets. Take the Mets here. It'd be a good play. But with Burns on the mound, even with Burns on the mound, look at the odds, minus 126. That's showing you how strong the Mets have been. If you went back 5 games probably and tried to bet on this, I bet the Reds probably be minus 140 or something. So they've looked kind of scary lately. Looking at the Mets versus righties, they've been decent. You got around a 50-50 split here versus Chase Burns. They have not been good. The Reds versus Tobias Myers, you can see they have not been good. Versus right-handed pitchers, they've been pretty decent. Looking at this, you got a hitter-friendly park, 3.4 mile per hour winds blowing out. It's not like a 10 or 13 mile per hour wind. 3.4 is not making a huge difference here, but it does affect it some. And you have to take that into consideration. But regardless, give me Chase Burns. I think the Reds win this game. Probably not going to bet on it, but I do have the Reds winning this one. I don't mind taking a chance on Chase Burns for a pitcher win because I feel like he could go 6 innings or 6 or 7. I think he goes 6 and potentially 7 innings if he has a really good game or something. But I'm thinking 6 innings is probably where he's going to go. And I think that the Reds could realistically get a little lead going on for that. So I think that taking a chance on Chase Burns for the win, it's like a 2.3x on chalkboard is not a bad play, and I might sprinkle some on that. Game number, 4? Yeah, game number 4 on the slate. We have the Cardinals versus the Padres. You got the Cardinals. They're favored at home at minus 136. Both teams looking decent as of lately. Cardinals, 55% win rate on the season. Padres, 53%. Padres have been better on the road than they have at home, and they've been better. And the Cardinals have been worse at home than they have on the road by a slight margin. So Padres looking pretty good right now. But you do have Dustin May on the mound versus Giolito. Giolito with a 4.35 ERA and a 1.74 WHIP. Very high WHIP. Dude, he struggles. His ERA, based off of his WHIP, I feel like his ERA should be a little bit higher. I'm going to be honest with you because his control has been really, really bad, and he's given up a lot of hits. So this scares me slightly versus the Cardinals team that's been pretty hot lately. The bats have been really, really good. So that scares me here for Giolito. You look at Dustin May. Dustin May's not a very good pitcher. Better control than Giolito, 4.21 ERA. This is a spot where I like the Cardinals. They're minus 144. Dustin May, last time I bet against him, he had a very, very good game. I think my money line still won, but I expected a bad game from Dustin May, and he pitched very well. I don't know if I'm not saying his last game was. We can take a look here. Let's see. Dustin May, I don't think I bet this one. It might have been this game versus the Rangers. I'm not sure. It might have been versus the Brewers here. But it's one of those games where he pitched well, and it kind of surprised me in that spot. So Dustin May could have a good game here. Last game versus the Padres, he lost, but he had a 3 ERA. He pitched 6 full innings. If you look at the Padres versus right-handed pitchers, that 50-50 split we talk about versus Dustin May, they really haven't looked terrible, but haven't looked good either. Cardinals versus Giolito, they have not seen him pretty much, so the data definitely favors Giolito here versus righties. Cardinals been not very good. 4.7 mile per hour winds blowing to the right here. This is a game where I honestly don't mind taking the Cardinals. I think that obviously this game is pretty coin flip. It's not a game that I love. I do feel like you're just flipping a coin here. But where Giolito sits with the control issues, giving up a lot of hits, like I said, I feel like his ERA should be a lot higher. So I think that the Cardinals can tee off on him here. I think he gives up a couple of walks. Cardinals get a couple of hits. We can run the score up a little bit early, and then that might be enough for the Cardinals to sneak out a dub here. So give me the Cardinals money line. I think they win this game. If you want to play on -1.5, I don't really like that, but if you want to take a shot on it, you could. Padres can definitely win this game if you want to take a shot on them at plus money. I don't hate that play, but with Giolito on the mound, it's hard for me to want to bet on the Padres. Just throwing it out there. Rangers versus Twins. You got Texas -154. Pretty big favorites at home. They've won 5 of their last 10 going against the Twins. Both these teams are under 500 on the season. Twins suck on the road. Rangers have been pretty good on the road. Now, you got Mackenzie Gore pitching up against an unknown pitcher for Minnesota. For this game right here, I think they have Mike Paredes here with a 4.35 ERA who is supposedly pitching. But, I mean, if it's not on Outlier, you got to take this with a grain of salt. I'm just throwing it out there. So, probably not a game we're going to talk about or even pick a winner for because you never know who's going to pitch for the Twins. So we'll see. Regardless, the Rangers are big favorites right now with Gore on the mound. But, yeah, it's going to be a game that I fade. I'm not really going to call anything from that one until I know who's pitching. Cubs versus Rockies. You have Chicago -194. Massive favorites right now at home versus the Rockies. Rockies just put up a franchise record, 23 runs versus the A's last night. 23-9 victory. You got the Cubs winning 3 of their last 4. Cubs over 500 on the season. Rockies not even close. Rockies the worst team in the league right now. But they do have their moments where they just put up massive runs like that. They have some hot bats sometimes. You got Imanaga pitching against Michael Lorenzen. Lorenzen right here, 7.54 ERA, looking terrible. 1.9 whip. He just sucks. Some of these games obviously could be in cores, which obviously is going to inflate that line. And we can see here. So Lorenzen with how many games does he have? 14 games. 7 of them are on the road, so he has 7 home games here. So 7 games in cores. When you're not a good pitcher and you're pitching in cores, you're going to run that up, and you're going to run your hits and walks up. So this number is definitely inflated because it's the Rockies pitcher. But versus Imanaga 444 hasn't been very good this season. Yeah, he has his games. Now, this being in Chicago, definitely favor the Cubs here. Colorado versus lefties, they suck versus left-handed pitchers. Versus Imanaga, they have not been good. Not a ton of data, but they just haven't been good. The Cubs versus Lorenzen, not been the greatest. Still not a ton of data. The guys who have seen him a lot have hit pretty well off of him, so that looks pretty good for the Cubs. Then versus right-handed pitchers, kind of a 50-50 split here. So give me the Cubs. Cubs win this game. Imanaga for a pitcher win is a play that I like a lot, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this first slip that I ran right now. So right here you can see I ran Zach Wheeler with shot at Imanaga as a pitcher win slip. Now, pitcher win yesterday obviously looked horrible. These are volatile slips, guys, when you play a pitcher win. That's why the payouts are so good on these two. But regardless, I think Zach Wheeler sneaks out that win versus Miami. I think Imanaga gets that win versus Colorado. So I like these two a lot. Probably my 2 favorite plays on the board. I like Chicago to get the win here. I like Philly to get the win here. I like this a lot. And then I ended up playing this as my secondary slip. So I took Zach Wheeler for the win. I played that as the staple because that was my favorite win. And then they had a promo over on parlay or on chalkboard, with Imanaga for 11.5 pitching out. So all he has to do is pitch 4 innings. He should go 4 innings regardless. They're not going to want to bring a bullpen in the 4th inning. So we'll see what happens. He should easily get that. Like both these slips a lot. If they cash, then we'll profit up about $500 profit. So it would be a pretty nice profit on these 2 slips. $800 wins or 1. So hopefully they both cash. That's what I got from the 2 player prop slips. You guys can play them if you want. If you don't want to play them, obviously, just fade them. But they are ran on chalkboard. You can bet these on a lot of sports books in terms of like FanDuel and DraftKings. And if you're trying to bet it on like Parlay Play or Prize Picks or Sleeper, they're not going to offer pitcher wins, which is one reason I really like chalkboard. If you guys want to play pitcher wins, which is one of my favorite baseball props to bet on. They're so fun to me. It's almost like betting money lines, but with stacked value. Obviously, it's a little bit different than a money line, but usually if you can find a good pitcher and cash the money line, the win will cash too. But yeah, it just depends on the game. You got to find good matchups, which I think these are good matchups. So go join Chalkboard, Code Fantasy Aces, like I said, if you want to tell these. Cubs win this game, in my opinion. Got 10.3 mile per hour, was blowing out. I really just think that the Cubs smack up on Colorado tonight. Tigers versus Astros. So you got Houston favored right now at minus 119. Obviously, this game is in Houston. Both these teams winning at least 50% of their last 10 games. Tigers have not been good this season, but neither have the Astros. The Astros at home haven't been any better. The Tigers on the road suck. Now, looking at the Tigers as of lately, they've looked pretty good. They really have. They've looked like a lot better of a team. They were good last year. I'm expecting this Tigers team to get hot at any point in time. You got Tang on the mound versus Melton. Melton's 3-0 with a 2.81 ERA, whereas Tang is 3-5 with a 3.71. So pitching matchup, in my opinion, favors Melton here. If you look at the Tigers versus right-handed pitchers, they have not been that great. Versus Tang, they haven't seen him. Houston versus Melton, they haven't seen him. Versus right-handed pitchers, they have not been that good. So this game, to me, looks like it's going to be pretty low scoring. It's a dome stadium with a retractable roof, 40% chance of rain with 4.7 mile per hour winds blowing out. So the dome probably going to be closed. Wind factor shouldn't affect it too much. The game is going to be in Houston. Astros have won 2 of their last 3. Their bats have been decent, but they give up a lot of runs to the Royals too. So I think the Tigers are going to be able to get to them. I like the Tigers here at plus money. I'm going to be honest with you. So I think the Tigers win this game. It's going to be a plus money play that I'm probably going to run, but give me Detroit here. I like Melton here. I think Melton has a good game, and I'm willing to take a chance on him. 3 more games, and we'll get done to this video. But we got the Angels versus the Diamondbacks. Arizona at minus 122. They've won 6 of their the Angels have won 6 of their last 10. Diamondbacks have won 4 of their last 10. Diamondbacks over 500 at home, 60% win rate. Angels on the road, 34% win rate. But the Angels have looked really, really good right now in LA specifically. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. You got Ryan Nelson on the mound versus Urena. Urena, much better pitcher than Nelson. Nelson with a 5.19 ERA and a 122 whip. Urena with a 134 whip and a 244 ERA. Taking a look at these guys, Angels versus righties, they've actually been very good versus right-handed pitchers. Versus Nelson, they've been very, very good. So this is a spot where you can kind of look at hitters. So, for example, if you look at batting average here is 189. His OPS has been decent. 576. Everything's green here. Let's find somebody with a higher batting average. So let's look at Rivera here with a 300 batting average versus righties, and then no data versus Nelson. So you guys get what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find somebody with decent at-bats and or decent OPS versus Ryan Nelson that has a good batting average. You can look at that and kind of look at a hit, and you could kind of find spots where you could take a hitter. But regardless, Urena right here, they haven't seen him. It's going to be better for Urena, obviously. And then versus right-handed pitchers, Arizona's been pretty good. So right now you got 11.4 mile per hour winds blowing inward. Retractable roof. I'm assuming the roof will be closed. I don't know. I'm not sure about Arizona Field, who, if they leave the roof open on hot days like this, 106 degrees, I'm not sure what they do. I'm assuming it's going to be closed, but we'll see what happens. Regardless, honestly, this isn't a game I'm going to bet on. Just based off pitching matchup, I honestly don't mind taking the Angels here. The Angels are going to be an underdog at plus 120. I don't think that's a bad bet. Arizona is definitely the better team overall, but the Angels have been hot. They got a much better pitcher on the mound. I don't mind taking a shot on them here if you want to bet on them. Last 2 games on the slate, we have the Pirates versus the A's and then the Rays versus Dodgers. So Pirates versus A's, pretty even odds. You got the A's favored at minus 117. They've won 4 of the last 5 games, looking a little bit more hot than this Pirates team has. The Pirates' last 10 games or so looked pretty bad. Now, before that, they were looking good, so they're very streaky. You got Jen on the mound versus Jones. Jones with a 4.72 ERA, Jim with a 3.15. Pirates versus right-handed pitchers have been very, very good. Versus JT Jen, not much data. A's versus Jared Jones, no data. Versus right-handed pitchers, not very good. Now, you have probably the second best hitter-friendly park in the league. It's a little league park for the most part. I mean, very, very small park, which means homers are much easier to hit here. with 11.4 mile per hour winds blowing out. Now, you got two teams with some sluggers. The Pirates can put up some runs. They've had their hot games lately. They've had their cold games lately. We'll see what version we get of the Pirates today. The A's, I mean, we just saw a 32-run game last game versus the Rockies. I mean, the Rockies put up 23 of those runs, but the A's still put up 9. This is a spot for the total, man. The total sits at 10.5. You could buy it down to 9.5 or 8.5, and I think it goes over. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this game is pretty high scoring here. I don't mind taking a shot on it. In terms of picking a winner from the game, I'm not going to pick a winner, but I think the total in this game could go over, specifically if you buy it to like 9.5 or 8.5. I don't think I like the 10.5 as much, but 8.5, 9.5, I really do like that play. Tampa Bay versus the Dodgers is the last game. You got Tampa Bay plus 144, Dodgers minus 150. Both these teams 50% win rate over the last 10. Both these teams 60% and above win rate on the season. Dodgers much better at home than the Rays are on the road. Both these teams are strong. You got Eric Lauer pitching for the Dodgers versus Martinez. Martinez is a much better pitcher. Good grief, the stutter killed me. Versus Eric Lauer here. Much better pitcher in favor for the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't mind taking a chance at Tampa Bay. I'm going to be honest with you, just based off pitchers. Now, the Dodgers' bats are so hot. Tampa Bay's had their bad games lately. They've been a little bit cold in spots, and it scares me slightly. Where the Dodgers have been, I mean, you can't ever count the Dodgers out. Tampa Bay versus lefties been terrible. Versus Eric Lauer, they've been good versus Eric Lauer. If you look at the Dodgers versus Nick Martinez, they've been pretty dang good versus right-handed pitchers. I mean, they're just incredible. So it's hard to bet against them here. 9 mile per hour winds blowing out. Take a shot on the Rays if you want. I'm not going to put money on them. I don't think that's a bad chance play here. It's baseball. Anything can happen. Plus 150 is pretty dang good odds here. But, I mean, honestly, if I had to put money on it, just picking a winner, if the odds were even, I'd have to take the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are the better team here. I think they do win more often than not. But with Martinez on the mound, man, it makes it a little bit tougher. Probably not a game that I ended up betting on myself. Looking at our slip one more time, these are the two slips I ran on chalkboard. If you guys did skip to the end, I'm going to go ahead and show them to you. I shouldn't, but I'm going to. Got Zach Wheeler and Imanaga for pitcher wins. I'm running this one. And then I ran Zach Wheeler again. If you want to run his outs or something at like 17.5, you could play his pitching outs instead. The value is probably going to be pretty similar, so I don't mind taking that. And you got that with Imanaga over 11.5 outs, which is a promo. So you can lock them in if you like them. You can fade them if you don't, guys. That's what I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and a comment. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys cash out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.